You know what? Like, I think about it now. Self-victimization ruined my life. Why do I say that? Because it was always just a convenient. It was always just this convenient outlet. Like, I could just choose. I could just kind of subconsciously play that card to, justify inadequacies or shortcomings that could be improved on. That's the big thing. Some things you can't improve, like how you're born, like your height, um, like the size of your hands, your shoe size. Some stuff can't be changed, right? But some stuff can be changed. Some stuff is in your power, and I think it's wrong to just pull out the self-victimization card when something's not going your way, or and most of the time it's subconsciously. So what I mean by subconsciously is nothing complicated. What I mean is that you're doing it without knowing it. That's the thing. So how do you know something that you don't know, right? And that can be quite challenging, because if you think about it, it's quite complicated to see your own patterns. You kind of need like a third person point of view, because it's easy for others perhaps to point out what you're doing wrong, but it's hard for yourself to see it. And oftentimes things that you're going to do that are against your best interest are generally things that are not displayed in public. So you know basically sometimes it's your weakest moments. It might be with one person, but generally people are not going to call you out for it, because number one, not everyone's your friend, and like the other reason is as well, like not everyone cares about you or what you do anyway. So whether you're gonna like self-sabotage or self-victimize, like they don't actually care. I'm not saying that nobody cares. I'm just saying that most people don't, and that's normal, because you don't need to have a relationship with everyone. You know what I mean? But ultimately, don't fall into the trap of just accepting like, yo, this is just how things are. Because I remember I had this conversation with one of my friends back in my past, which was a few years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, to be exact. And the conversation was like basically, oh yeah, yeah, I can't change. Like I'm just stuck. And I used to believe the same thing. I used to also think like, yeah, yeah, I just can't, because this and this happened, and that's me, and I can't change, and that's just how things are. In reality, it's not. In reality, there are things you can change. You can change the number in your bank account. You can change, how much body fat you have. You can change how strong you are. You can adapt those things and improve on those things. You can improve your memory. Like, there's things you can do to some degree that are within your reach. So this awareness, to become aware essentially of like when am I playing the victim, is that like asking yourself, is this thing in my control, right? So of course, if someone like, if you were in school and someone bullies you for, I don't know, having 9 fingers, and you were born with 9 fingers, like, you can't really change that. So it's just something that you have to accept, kind of. And you might feel a bit sorry for yourself, because it's like, yeah, I can't change this, and that's fair enough. But you'll learn to get over it. But when someone like says something like, oh, like, you fat, or you're weak in terms of like, you might be not able to push a certain weight, or something like this. I'm trying to make an example that is within your control. So let's just pretend it's something within your control. Then that doesn't the victim card does not, it has no merit then, to say to yourself, oh yeah, that's just how it is. I'm gonna be like this way forever. I'll never be able to build more muscle, because it's just is what it is. But like, ask yourself, have you even tried to improve that facet of your life? Have you even tried to change that situation? Like, how much effort have you put into it, to actually change it? And sometimes, we try and we don't always get the result that we expect or the result we want. But I'm telling you, you're going to be way more satisfied trying and actually trying to do it than not doing it and just playing the victim card. It feels way better to be like, I went to war and I got out of the war, and I still feel like a particular way, but I've tried and I tried really hard and I gave it my best. Whereas I think it feels way worse to say, yeah, I didn't even try. Like, I didn't even try. I just made up some excuse to not try. And that's kind of where I've seen my own error pattern. So, firstly, is it within your control? If yes, then work on it. If it's not, then accept it and integrate it into your life. And then the second thing you need to do is, when it is a yes and you can improve on it, ask yourself, like, how many times have I tried, and am I trying something different? So if you've tried to do, for example, getting fit at home and losing weight from home, maybe it's time to go to the gym. Maybe it's time to have a personal trainer. Like, exhaust as many financially viable and obviously how much capacity you have to manage it options as possible. So try many options, try various options. Don't just try one thing and then accept, that's just how it is, and then play the victim card, and then just say, oh yeah, because of my circumstances, because of everything that's happened in my life, that's why I can't do that thing. Like, no, give yourself a fighting chance. I made a tweet that said, you go through these you go through pain, right? And yes, it's hard to go through pain. But you need be there for yourself. And essentially, just like I said, give yourself that fighting chance. Give yourself a chance to try something and see if it works. And even if you fail, that's better than not trying at all. You're gonna feel way better for it anyway. Um, and yeah, that's just kind of my experience with this concept of self victimization and you know escaping that, because it just has a zero benefit. It doesn't really make you better, and ultimately it just it doesn't even give yourself a fighting chance. So be there for you. You need you needs you. And yeah, just continue to rise that way.